Tonight, a call to bargaining.
In order to talk, it's a two-way street. It can't be just a one-sided thing.
Local education leaders want the provincial government at the table as soon as possible, trying to prevent job action down the road. Plus, a fire escape in northeast London.
And all of a sudden, the flames just blew up in the back room.
The early morning response avoiding the worst. And in need of a new groundhog.
Albino groundhogs are, as you say, not very common.
The search for Wyerton Willie's replacement and the specific criteria required.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with labor uncertainty in schools. Collective bargaining is coming up for teachers and support staff. And as Jerry Dewan reports, union leaders say the system has never been more unstable.
The Ford government has taken control of 8 school boards across the province with appointed supervisors for each of those boards, including the Thames Valley District School Board. While the stated goal was to address waste and inefficiencies, the head of the Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario Thames Valley Local says no amount of efficiency seeking will address the challenges schools are facing.
When you're having a funding model that's not keeping up with the rates of inflation, school boards are having to do more with less.
ETFO estimates Ontario school boards are currently underfunded by more than $6.3 billion, and demands on school staff continue to grow with more students in emotional and psychological crisis, resulting in episodes like the one seen here.
Everyone thinks of education, reading, writing, and arithmetic, which is kind of outdated, but the actual supports that students need to have success, to have a bright future, and to be to contribute to Ontario and into the future, their individual needs aren't being met.
Unions representing teachers at both the elementary and secondary level, along with unions representing most support staff, are all looking for new collective bargaining agreements this fall.
In order to talk, it's a two-way street. It can't be just a one-sided thing. And the government needs to step up to the plate and do the job that the public taxpayers paid them to do.
Mary Henry is president of CUPE Local 4222, which represents a wide range of job categories from custodians and maintenance workers to IT staff. CUPE has sent a letter to Education Minister Paul Calandra requesting that provincial negotiators come to the table as soon as possible. The contracts expire just a week before school starts, and she says everything should be done to avoid disrupting the school year. The unions argue the current per-pupil funding formula continues to fail students.
If you're going to be put into place to make accountability and to make it balanced, fine. But are you doing it the right way? We haven't seen anything that it's proving that it's being done the right way.
Henry questions the government putting in place a supervisor that she says is costing the system $350,000 a year, while saying they're addressing waste. Jerry Dewan, CTV News.
Local conservation authorities are expressing apprehension tonight, concerned they may be about to lose control over major environmental and development decisions. The provincial government has announced a consolidation of dozens of agencies down to just 9. With more on the local reaction, here's Brian Bicknell.
They help with decisions that inform watershed management, development, and other environmental issues. Now there are concerns local input will be diminished.
Will they actually know what is happening in our watershed?
Lukenbidolph Mayor Kathy Burkhardt-Jessen says her community, which is served by Upper Thames and Asable Bayfield, will come under 2 new regional conservation bodies, one of which stretches as far north as Thunder Bay.
If you've got people making decisions that have not even seen our watershed, can we be assured that those decisions will be effective for our community?
The Ford government has confirmed it's amalgamating Ontario's 36 conservation authorities into just 9. Ingersoll Mayor Brian Petrie chairs Upper Thames. It's going to be joined with Lower Thames, St. Clair, and Essex. He says there are many unanswered questions.
They're saying that there's going to be no changes to frontline staff, but there's going to be a lot of changes as far as of making things more streamlined. So again, I don't know what that means, to tell you the truth. There's a lot of conflicting statements.
London Mayor Josh Morgan says the breakdown of how the new regional authorities will be taxpayer funded is to be determined.
There's a discussion about continuing the representation by population, but essentially capping that at a certain level. So if that's capped at a certain level and we're paying a greater share than we have influence, that's something that I'm going to obviously give some feedback on.
The new arrangement is expected to have a major impact on the process to get shovels in the ground for new development. The industry hoping for clearer rules and regulations.
Both from a mapping perspective, so we know where the flood lines are, and the costs and the processes for us to get permits to actually put development forward and put homes in the ground for people to live in.
The creation of an Ontario-wide conservation authority will help to handle the transition from 36 to 9 over the next year. Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
The American War Secretary said today would be the most intense day of strikes on Iran. That escalation just a day after the president said the military bombardment would be short-lived. With the latest on this and the mixed messages from Donald Trump, here's Joy Malbon.
The Pentagon with new video bombing Iran's missile launchers and destroying their ammunition stockpiles. A fresh round of attacks. The U.S. says it has hit more than 5,000 targets, including 50 vessels.
Today will be yet again our most intense day of strikes inside Iran. The most fighters, the most bombers. On the other hand, the last 24 hours have seen Iran fire the lowest number of missiles.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says Iran is badly losing and there will be no let-up. This as the Trump administration is sending mixed messages when the conflict will end. The president suggested the war's goals were pretty much complete, telling Republicans,
I think you'll see it's going to be a short-term excursion. How good is our military, right?
Trading threats on social media, Trump told Fox News he's not happy with Iran's new supreme leader, a hardline cleric and son of the assassinated Ayatollah Khamenei, saying, I don't believe he can live in peace. Iran's security chief shot back, warning the U.S. president, be careful not to get eliminated yourself. This after Trump threatened to rain fire and fury on Iran, warning the regime against stopping the world's flow of oil through the Strait of Hormuz, now at a standstill and sending gas prices soaring. But the White House insists that won't last long.
U.S. military is drawing up additional options following the president's directive to continue keeping the Strait of Hormuz open. I will not broadcast what those options look like, but just know the president is not afraid to use them.
So when will it all end? The White House and Secretary of War both say that's up to President Trump to determine when Iran is no longer a direct threat to America. Joy Malbon, CTV News, Washington.
Toronto police say multiple gunshots were fired at the U.S. Consulate this morning. They say officers are looking for two people who stepped out of a vehicle early this morning, firing shots at the building. According to police, there were people inside the building, but no one was hurt.
At this time, the INSET team has been engaged, as this is a national security incident, and we are working with Toronto Police and others to understand the motivations of those involved.
The Prime Minister declared in Parliament today Canada will not participate in the U.S.-led military offensive in the Middle East. Those comments as opposition leaders raised their own questions about our nation's response. Mike Lecouture reports.
His appearance at question period was a last-minute addition to his schedule, and after a week of shifting narratives around the war in the Middle East, the Prime Minister looked to clarify Canada's stance. Mark Carney said Canada opposes Iran's development of nuclear weapons and the regime's exporting of terrorism. The Prime Minister also said Canada will not participate in the American military offensive in the region. But the leader of the Bloc Québécois wants to know if Carney also asked allies if they're all on the same page.
As long as we act on our separate paths, we don't have the leverage to force United States into themselves a more current position because we don't know what the President of the United States wants.
Je viens d'avoir une conversation avec le président du G7, M. Macron.
Carney said he had conversations with leaders from France, Japan, and the U.S., but wouldn't give any more details. The Conservatives have criticized Carney's stance on Iran, saying it's been shifting over the past week, while Poilievre says he stood by the Prime Minister's original support for the strikes on Iran to take down the regime. He's unequivocal about the Supreme Leader's successor.
You're talking with the son?
The son, yeah.
No, this is a terrorist. We stand with the Iranian people for democracy. We stand against the Iranian theocratic dictatorship that has attacked our country.
Prime Minister Carney says he plans to speak with other G7 leaders this week, and he says they're all united in calling for a de-escalation in the Middle East. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
We are live on location tonight at the Ronald McDonald House Charities of Southwestern Ontario. We've dropped by their Meals from the Heart program. We're joined by Chef Kim Sutherland. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Kim, tell us about Meals from the Heart and how it serves this community.
So Meals from the Heart program is the program that we run in the house to help support our families that are staying here. The house has about 40 families that stay in it, which usually equals about 100 people. And then the groups come in and volunteer in the kitchen here and help us make dinner and serve them to our families. And then we package up the meals and we send part of them over to the family room, which supports our local families, and the rest we serve dinner in here.
So the people that come in to make the meals, who are they?
They're community members, they're local businesses, they're former families, anyone who wants to put together a group and support and give back to the wonderful people that are staying here and support the people that are, the families that are looking after their families while they're here.
A lot of people think the Ronald McDonald House Charity only supports children who are undergoing cancer treatment, but it's a whole variety of people.
Yeah, absolutely. So we support we have about 4 different pillars of kids that we look after. We have our oncology kids, of course, those are kids in active cancer treatment. And then we have our teenage mental health and eating disorders, which is a program I'm really passionate about in supporting those kids. And then we have our new nursing moms in high-risk pregnancies. We all know new nursing moms in eating dinner is a very important thing and how we look after them. And then our trauma families. So anytime there's an accident, those families that get, or kids that get airlifted here will stay at the house and we support them all the way from here to Thunder Bay and further.
And tonight, the group coming in is International Women's Day. So we have a group of women here.
We do. An amazing group of women. This is our 2nd year in a row doing it. Community members have all come together to support and have different networks and different experiences with the house. And we're very grateful for them to continue to support the house.
And if someone at home is wondering, how can I get to be a part of this? So where can they find out more information?
Yeah, you can go onto the website. There's a volunteer option and then just click on it and be part of the Meals from the Heart or a regular house volunteer. Our house runs on volunteers. We couldn't do it without them, so yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us. Tonight's dinner is?
Tonight's dinner is Mexican Fiesta night. It's Taco Tuesday here in the house. We love it, so yeah.
Awesome. All right, thanks so much. All fresh ingredients, and it was just prepared behind us moments ago. We have some active weather moving into the area overnight and into tomorrow. We do have a rainfall warning in effect stretching from Windsor through London east to Toronto, and then northeast of that we have a freezing rain warning that has been issued. In our immediate viewing area in the Bruce Peninsula, a freezing rain warning with significant ice accretion expected, upwards of 10 millimeters. It was record-breaking warmth in parts of southern Ontario. This is unofficial, but when we look at those records, the previous record was 16.7. Today we hit 17.1 at the London airport. Still holding at 13 degrees right now, 6 in Goderich and Mount Forest. We have this front waving its way through, and in areas of low pressure will be riding along that front as we head through the overnight, bringing us, yes, thunderstorms and heavy rainfall. We're already starting to see some light freezing rain as we push through the next couple of hours. You can see just on that northern edge of the Bruce. As we head through tonight, though, it'll be periods of rain south of that, so upwards of 20 to 40 millimeters. Now, think about the ground right now. It's, of course, saturated. We've had a significant melt of all of that snowfall, so any rain that we do receive, of course, will be running off. So we could see some flooding in low-lying areas. So localized flooding will be an issue. Make sure your sump pumps are good, especially if you are prone to flooding in your area. Coming up, I'll take you through the extended forecast. We're on a wild ride in terms of our temperature. We were way up today, but as we head toward the weekend, temperatures will drop back near freezing and below heading into next week. We'll take an early look at March break coming up live on location from the Ronald McDonald House Charity of Southwestern Ontario. More to come. Back to you.
Thanks very much, Julie. 2 people managed to escape a house fire in northeast London this morning. With more from the scene, here's Sean Irvin.
Little remains of the back room of a home on Booley Street in northeast London. It was destroyed in a matter of minutes Tuesday morning. 2 people inside managed to escape shortly before 8 a.m. Alan Howes among them. He recalled to us the first hint of trouble.
Just a little smell of smoke or whatever in the air.
The property owner, Ted Hayes, was frantically looking around the home for the source of the smell without success until he approached a French door connecting the rest of the home to the back. He quickly knew the fire was out of control.
And all of a sudden, the flames just blew up in the back room.
Alan recalls that Ted immediately turned around.
He said, "Get out." So that's what we did. It was just starting, and then within a few minutes, it was right up to the top of the roof.
The pair was greeted by worried neighbors and passers-by on nearby Cheapside Street. They'd already called 911. Firefighters arrived moments later. With all out of the building, they had little choice but to fight the flames from the outside. The fire was out before 9, but by then, 70 years of one family's history in this home were all but wiped out.
It was my parents' home. They bought it when I was born.
The initial damage estimate has been set at $200,000, but that could climb higher. Meanwhile, the search for a cause is underway. An official report will take time, but the cause is not believed to be suspicious. The residents had noticed an electrical smell shortly before the fire began.
Well, we could suspect that the fire did start in the back of the property within the structure itself. It did not start outside. We have some preliminary information at this point, but it's too early right now to determine if that's in fact the cause of the fire.
Hayes carried insurance on the home. In the meantime, he is grateful for the efforts of firefighters.
They were running hoses all over the place, you know, spraying the whole thing down, knocking out windows and doors.
In London, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
Perth OPP say about 140 animals were killed in a weekend barn fire. Police shared this image of the aftermath. They say the flames broke out early Saturday morning in the town of Gads Hill. No people were injured, and the Ontario Fire Marshal's office has deemed the situation not suspicious. Sarnia police say they're looking for 3 suspects wanted for breaking into a home last night and stabbing someone. They say 3 masked suspects forced their way into a residence, assaulting the man inside. Police provided these images of 2 people they say are suspects, Tesha and Jacob Oliver. They're also looking for a 3rd unidentified suspect. Police say the victim was airlifted to hospital with serious injuries. London police say they're investigating another threat at a high school. Officers were called to A.B. Lucas Secondary this morning. They say the threat involved graffiti. According to police, there were no injuries and there's no risk to public safety. Business owners near Argyle Mall in East London say they're growing frustrated with issues related to a nearby pharmacy which provides addiction treatment services. Rita Ismail has more on the impact for the pharmacy's neighbors and what they're dealing with.
Business owners in this plaza on Dundas Street, where a progressive drug mart pharmacy operates, say some people who visit the pharmacy for addiction treatment are lingering around the property, affecting their staff and customers.
They're lying around and we couldn't even step to the grease or the garbage at night. The girls are scared to go because they don't feel safe.
Usually outside, kind of slumped over, unfortunately, which I would say deters some customers maybe from coming in. But a lot of time when our staff are taking out the garbage at night, does make them feel a little bit uncomfortable.
For years, pharmacies across Ontario have dispensed methadone and other medications used to treat opioid addiction, operating under provincial regulations and zoning approvals. But last year, 5 pharmacies in London, all located along Dundas Street, partnered with New Dawn Medical, a national company that provides online addiction treatment services. The model allows patients to receive a virtual assessment with a physician who can prescribe medications such as methadone or other treatments online. Those prescriptions are then dispensed by the pharmacy on site. In an email to CTV News, Progressive Drug Mart pharmacist and owner Vin Hune said their pharmacists work collaboratively with physicians and other healthcare providers under strict protocols to ensure patients receive safe, supervised, and regulated care. CTV News also reached out to New Dawn Medical. The company declined an interview but provided a written statement. In part, it reads, "We are improving the community by reducing the use of street drugs, overdoses, and providing patients with excellent care, counseling, and access to other recovery supports." Still, the area's business association says the plaza has become a hotspot for complaints. They've had to hire a private security company to respond to ongoing calls.
We actually had a meeting just last week with the London Police Services on how we're going to help mitigate these sorts of issues for the businesses in the area. In addition to the services we're providing currently, we're also looking to have more conversations with business owners so we can have that direct impact.
Meanwhile, Deputy Mayor Sean Lewis says oversight of the new system should be reviewed.
I think the larger part is that the Ministry of Health, the Ontario College of Pharmacists, needs to do a review of how these businesses are operating, how much of a prescription is being administered, making sure that the prescriptions are being issued by a physician who's actually seeing the patient, not through an online Zoom or Teams meeting prescription of medication of this sort of severity.
City officials say addiction treatment remains an important part of addressing the opioid crisis, but some business owners say they want to see stronger oversight and support to address the impacts on surrounding neighborhoods. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
The community of Wyerton is mourning after the death of its most famous rodent resident. Scott Miller has more on this iteration of Wyerton Willie and the upcoming search for his replacement.
Willie did not see his shadow. We will have an early spring.
Canada's most well-known weather-predicting groundhog has died.
Unfortunately, it is a sad day here in Wyerton, in the town of Southbridge Peninsula, where our beloved groundhog passed away peacefully overnight.
As his caretakers arrived to feed him this morning, they found Willie unresponsive in his burrow. It was a surprise because a little over a month ago, he delighted crowds with his prediction of an early spring. That's actually what this Willie has predicted every Groundhog Day since taking over prediction duties in 2023.
Very much a national icon and by far the town's best-known resident.
Groundhogs usually only live 3 to 5 years in the wild, and albino groundhogs, less than that. Wyerton has had 3 different groundhogs perform Groundhog Day duties since 2017, but before that, they had the same Willie for 13 years in a row. Wyerton hopes that's the kind of groundhog they find next, although it will be hard to find, as albino groundhogs are born 1 in every 10,000 in North America.
Albino groundhogs are, as you say, not very common. I'm sure the town is working on that. I don't have any details about that, but I'm sure we look forward to what they will come up with, and I'm sure 2027 Groundhog Day will still be a fabulous and exciting event.
We've made it public. We will be looking to get another albino groundhog. And if there's anybody out there that has any leads, please contact us here at the town. We'd love to hear from you.
But for today, Wyerton and area is in mourning as they say goodbye to the town's most well-known rodent resident.
Willie has always been really well cared for and brings so much joy to residents and visitors alike. And while we're sad to say goodbye, we will be looking for a new weather prognosticator to continue this beloved tradition for years to come.
In Wyerton, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Later on CTV News, learning the hard way when it comes to a licensed mortgage broker, how a Toronto area woman lost $85,000.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's latest.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. ctvlondon.ca, your home for news.
Welcome back. The Grand Theatre has announced its lineup of productions hitting the stage for its next season. For more on those shows now and what will be a milestone year for the Spree Stage, I'm joined now by the Grand Theatre's Artistic Director, Rachel Peake. Thanks for being here, Rachel.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start with that milestone for the Spree Stage. That's a big number.
It sure is. 125 years. That's how long the physical building of the Grand Theatre has existed.
And we're talking 6 shows that are coming to that stage next year.
Yes, yeah, it's a full lineup. We're starting the season with Dracula, a comedy of terrors. So it's Dracula like you've never seen it. Smart, funny, satirical, campy, sexy. Then the Holiday Show is a Canadian adaptation of A Christmas Carol. So it's a musical adaptation set in the late 1940s. And in this version, Scrooge owns a department store. So it has all the Christmas classics of that era. In the new year, we're bringing in a revival of the National Arts Centre English Theatre and Tarragon Theatre's Cicadas, which is a world premiere Canadian play. It's an eco-thriller. So it's creepy, it's set in the future, and it's about the earth beneath the house taking the house back.
Okay.
Following that, we have a Canadian premiere of a play called Somewhere by Tony Award-winning playwright Matthew Lopez. It is an homage to dance, it's a love letter to Broadway, and it's a terrific family drama with dance. Following that, we have a Canadian adaptation of Cyrano de Bergerac.
This is what I'm excited about, because we were talking off air before we came back on here about how my theater career was brief. It was in high school, but the productions I was in include Cyrano de Bergerac. So myself, I'm excited to see that production, as well as The Importance of Being Earnest is still on this season. Of the 2 shows that I was in, I'm excited to see, refresh my memory even of what those shows were like so long ago.
That's quite the coincidence. And then we're rounding off the season with a really spectacular musical, a title that might be known to a lot of Londoners. It's Dolly Parton's 9 to 5, the musical. And I have the joy of directing that one.
All right, well, that is a big lineup. Tell me just about, before we wrap up here, about your excitement about, I know you're directing 2 of the shows as well, for your involvement. How excited are you to bring these shows to London?
Well, you know, we've named this season All in Grand Time. And the fun thing about this season is that none of the plays are set in the present. They're all set in different time periods. So I think what people will see is that the shows are very diverse. They're very different one from another, but for people who commit to the whole season as a subscriber, they get to go on a really fun journey through the course of the year.
All right, Rachel Peake is the Artistic Director at the Grand Theatre. Thanks for being here today, Rachel.
Thanks for having me.
Heading back to Ronald McDonald House now and rejoining Julie Atchison for a look at the forecast. And what's cooking there tonight? Taco Tuesday sound pretty good, Julie.
Yeah, it smells pretty good in here as well. Of course, they cooked the meal in the last hour and served it. So everyone is just finishing up their dinners here. But there's still a few people in the dining room enjoying some churros for dessert. And those look pretty yummy as well. We've had quite the weather day across the region. It was a mild one and record-breaking. 17.1 degrees this afternoon. And there's the record, 19 at 25. Both high and low temperature coming in well above normal. We'll remain on the mild side overnight. We won't see a big drop off in our temperature with the forecast low coming in at about 6 degrees. We're still at 13 on the hour and the winds light out of the west. Now we are expecting a bit of fog to develop and we have a heavy rainfall warning in effect with rain developing overnight and the potential for some strong thunderstorms. Starting to see the signs of some snowfall now in through northern Ontario. We will be staying on the warm side of this system. That cold air will remain bottled up to the north with that southerly flow expected through the day tomorrow. Now eventually the frontal boundary will push its way eastward, but it will take the better part of the day tomorrow and the winds will come around to the northwest. Overnight we'll dip down between 0 and Wyerton. That's where the freezing rain warning is, but south of that between 3 and 6 degrees. Holding it around 4 degrees along Lake Erie. Now look at these rounds of showers and thunderstorms coming through. So likely through the overnight, you may be woken by some strong thunder. And then heading into tomorrow morning, that will continue to drive eastward. We'll see a bit of a lull as we head into the afternoon and overcast. You can see the shift in the winds as that cold air comes back down Lake Huron, and that will lead to some lake effect of flurries. We'll have another clipper come in on Friday, so we are in for some action heading into the weekend as well. So this forecast model reading rainfall totals. Now, earlier in the day, it had us between 25 and 50. It's dropped now 20 millimeters most likely. Now, if we don't get under a heavy thunderstorm, though, those rainfall amounts will be much less. So, again, localized flooding is possible. The ground is already saturated. Of course, it's frozen, so a lot of that will be running off. Heading into the afternoon, the forecast high tomorrow coming in at +8. Thursday, a mix of sun and cloud. The next clipper comes in on a Friday. Temperature high heading into the weekend, 2 degrees on Saturday with a chance of a rain-snow mix again. And then on Sunday, 3 degrees. But the overnight lows dropping between -3 and -4. And what that means is anytime that precipitation starts to come in at night, it will likely lead to snowfall. Flurries as we head into Monday, and then early next week, look at that drop in temperature. That's March break, friends. So some flurries and some winter-like conditions. So after a nice preview of spring, we're back into some cold air early next week. So freezing rain tonight in through Wyerton and the Bruce Peninsula. Temperature as we head into tomorrow +8. Thursday, mix of sun and cloud and gusty winds. And then Friday, snowfall and windy. That's the clipper coming in. The overnight lows dropping down between -5 and -7. And, you know, we're going to be talking wind chill. And then Sunday, possibility of a rain-snow mix. Flurries on Monday and cold air arriving as we kick off the March break. So the main weather system coming in overnight tonight and into tomorrow morning with some heavy rainfall and some thunderstorms. Now, the Meals from the Heart program focuses on giving sick children what they need most, their families at their best. And if you would like to be part of it, you can head to their website. There are many different support levels. A donation of $500, you come into the kitchen. Option 2 is the team building experience for teams up to 10, and the donation is $1,000. Or you can sponsor a meal and let them do the cooking for you. So lots of options for organizations in the community. You can grab a group of friends, head to the website, and you can find a great day that works for you and for the home. And they serve meals here 7 days a week. They have great menus, lots of great options. And when you gather your friends and you come in, they take care of the rest for you with the menu all planned out. So lots of opportunity to give back here at the home, especially if you'd like to volunteer. That's a wrap from down here tonight. I'll send things back to the newsroom.
Thanks very much, Julie. And later in the newscast, it's Behind the Likes. That's why Lauren Stallone is with me right now. What are we talking about this week?
We're talking about diamonds this week, Carlyle, lab-grown versus natural.
All right, we'll see if we can tell the difference a little later in the newscast. That's coming up.
Pure Country 93. London's home for the best country music. Listen for your chance to win $50,000 with Pure Country's Big 50K Payday.
A new survey from Interact suggests as many as 80% of Canadians believe AI is enabling more convincing scams faster than ever. The findings show scammers capitalizing on breaking news and current events, making it harder to differentiate between real messages and fraud. Over the past 6 months, nearly 6 in 10 respondents said they've experienced a tariff-related scam, including messages about packages being held or delayed, customs or import fees, or customs impersonation calls. A quarter of respondents said they've noticed an increase in scam attempts referencing the rising cost of living, including overdue bills, utility shutoff threats, and government assistance offers. A woman in the Toronto area says she's facing foreclosure on her home after giving thousands of dollars to someone she thought was a mortgage broker. However, as Pat Foran reports, that person had no license, and now that money is gone.
You had one job to do that you got paid to do, you know, and you didn't fulfill that.
Randy Solomon of Scarborough says 2 years ago her father was having health issues and she had fallen behind on her mortgage payments. She decided to deposit $85,000 on her mortgage and found someone who said they could complete the transaction.
The money didn't go where it's supposed to go, you know. That's a lot of money.
Solomon says she gave the funds to Diane Van Rossum. She thought Van Rossum was a mortgage broker, but when she contacted the Financial Services Regulatory Authority of Ontario, FSRA, she was told Van Rossum was not licensed. The $85,000 bank draft was cashed, but is now missing.
When I found out it didn't go to the right place, I was angry. I felt betrayed. I felt betrayed, and I felt like she didn't do the job that she was paid to do.
FSRA just issued a statement warning consumers not to do business with Diane Van Rossum, saying she's not licensed to conduct mortgage brokering in Ontario, and she has accepted funds but didn't deposit them to process a mortgage. FSRA says anyone seeking mortgage advice or services needs to make sure they're dealing with a licensed professional.
I would encourage consumers to ask a lot of questions of the mortgage broker that they're working with. Mortgages are not easy products.
You can also check FSRA's website to make sure a mortgage broker is licensed to operate in the province.
They can do that by putting in their name or their license number or their brokerage name. I would also check our enforcement database to make sure that the brokerage doesn't have any actions recently taken by FSRA against them.
Solomon says the $85,000 was to help her keep her home. Without it, she's worried she could lose it.
The situation is still the same. My home is still up for foreclosure.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
New data on Canadian rental rates shows the average cost falling for a 17th straight month. The average asking rental price across the country is just over $2,000, the lowest in almost 3 years. The latest monthly report from Rentals.ca and Urbanation shows asking rent was down 2.8% in February compared to the same time in 2025. Alberta saw the steepest drop, followed by Ontario, BC, and Quebec. Prices actually rose, though, in Nova Scotia, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. Canada's main stock index surged today while the price of oil fell. The TSX gained 81 points. In New York, the Dow fell 34. The Nasdaq added a single point. The Canadian dollar gained a modest 0.04 of a cent. On commodity markets, gold is up $138 an ounce. Oil lost more than $11 a barrel. Still ahead, the struggle for Iranian students studying in Canada while dealing with uncertainty back home. Welcome back. London police say 2 men from the Toronto area wanted for human trafficking are now in custody. They say 36-year-old Kelly Osifo was arrested by Toronto police yesterday with a court appearance here in London tomorrow. The second suspect is Ian Chambers, who has a future court date set. London police say there may be additional victims and are asking anyone with information to contact them. Iranian students across the country who are here studying on international visas say they're facing financial uncertainty because their education is largely funded by their parents back home in Iran. As Genevieve Beauchemin reports, they're now stuck here in limbo.
Hours that Nasim Goshavi and Negim Garamani plan to devote to their studies are now spent in fear.
The amount of stress and uncertainty that we have to go through is unbelievable and something that I was not prepared for.
They worry for their families, face financial turmoil and fear for their future. The last census found there were more than 20,000 post-secondary students from Iran in Canada pursuing dreams of higher education abroad. But now as bombs hit, the internet is often cut off. They have little communication with loved ones in Iran. And they were often a lifeline to help pay for tuition and for the high cost of food and housing.
We just came here with one suitcase.
Khosravi is a PhD student in oral health sciences who has worked with NGOs.
We sold our house in my country, home Iran. And we came here with some savings, but you know it's not enough. I was able to pay my tuitions for this semester, but I had friends who were not able.
And Gahamani is a master's student in dental sciences. She says the door is closed to their country at war. They say they received a letter yesterday warning against taking part in protests against the regime.
If you come back to your country, Iran, you will be executed.
A McGill professor is setting up a fund to help some international students pay for tuition, but students hope the university could extend some deadlines for payments and some assignments while so much of their thoughts are on Iran.
I am really concerned about the people in Iran. They are risking their lives and yeah.
And so the students are hoping to find a way to make ends meet, to finish their degrees, and to close this frightening chapter. Genevieve Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
Tomorrow on CTV News, hundreds of students across Lambton County facing suspension from school for not having updated immunization records. That story tomorrow on CTV News at 6.
rolls in tonight with the potential for some heavy rainfall overnight and into your Wednesday. We have a rainfall warning. Thank you to Paul Rutherford. Some signs of spring popping up in the area, although winter makes a comeback in the extended forecast with daytime highs dropping below freezing as we head into next week.
The family of a child who was critically injured in the Tumbler Ridge shooting are suing OpenAI, claiming its chatbot helped the shooter plan the attack. The lawsuit alleges OpenAI had specific knowledge the shooter was utilizing ChatGPT to plan a mass casualty event. Officials with the tech company told police the shooter's ChatGPT account had been shut down, but they got around the ban by simply creating a second account. None of the allegations have been proven in court. A meeting in Chatham, Kent about a potential OHL franchise has turned into a source of political tension. Some councillors are taking issue with the fact they weren't invited, while the mayor claims he was just trying to follow municipal protocols. Chris Campbell reports.
Is it true that there was a private meeting with OHL officials, the mayor, and multiple council members, almost half? Did this indeed occur?
A meeting many around this table only learned of through local media reports.
Is this how we're doing business in Chatham-Kent now? I'm caught off guard by all of this.
Councillor Alison Story says she heard about the meeting from a constituent.
Oh, I literally just learned about it like a day or two before council. 11 of us were not informed about any of it.
Story says she has serious concerns about transparency, worried about the way those who took part in the meeting were selected to join.
Deeply disappointing, it's deeply disturbing, and it's deeply anti-democratic.
Councillor Michael Bondi says discussions about a potential OHL team could involve major spending that every elected official should be aware of.
We're not talking about buying swing sets. This is a $220 million arena. So this is a very big deal.
But Councillor Brock McGregor, who attended the meeting, says it was simply an information session.
So the OHL had reached out. They had some interest in Chatham-Kent. They were discussing some of their expansion plans, really wanted to learn a bit more about the community and just provide some information on what's going on with the league right now.
Mayor Darren Caniff says he limited attendance after being advised inviting all councillors could violate quorum rules.
I wanted all council to attend. But the clerk pointed out, said, no, you can't have all of council.
Caniff says he invited councillors who had previously expressed interest in arena discussions and says he will ensure council is notified if similar meetings happen in the future.
If ever again we're talking to the OHL, I'll make sure that all of council is well aware of the meeting.
The mayor also says whether or not an OHL team eventually comes to Chatham-Kent, the municipality still needs to explore building a new arena, noting the current facility being considered for replacement dates back to the 1940s. Chris Campbell, CTV News.
A large crowd came out to celebrate a celebrity in the California surfing community this past weekend. Sugar, the surfing dog, got on her board one last time. The 16-year-old former rescue is battling cancer. She's a 5-time world dog surfing champion and the first non-human ever inducted into the Surfers Hall of Fame. A GoFundMe has also been set up to help with Sugar's medical expenses. And Lawrence Stallone's back with me because after the break, it is Behind the Likes, and we are going to figure out, there are 2 rings inside this box,
That's
Lauren.
right.
What's the question we're trying to answer here, though?
Which one is lab grown? Which one is natural?
All right, we'll have that resolution for you coming up after the break.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest in the
Breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A development now to a story from City Hall we brought you.
Download the CTV News app.
And before we go tonight, it's Behind the Likes with Lauren Stallone. Lauren's with me now. And for this segment, Lauren, we are talking about some content and some valuables that might just be the most expensive things we've ever had on this desk, I think.
I don't think we can beat it, but we're talking about something that's really interesting on social media right now, a debate between lab-grown diamonds versus natural diamonds. So people on social media, on TikTok and Instagram, are using these platforms to spark a debate. They're talking about the look of the diamond, diamonds. They're putting out comparison videos, asking their followers if they can tell the difference and what they would choose. So it's a really interesting conversation that's going on online right now. And a lot of social media users are getting engaged and using this as a way to decide what they would like to use. But there's also some misinformation out there, not 100% sure what is right. So we have an expert joining us to give us a little bit more background.
This is Saeb Omar, a local jeweler, who's here to tell us the difference. And I noticed on the visuals we were showing, Lauren, animated. People are pretty passionate about this, it seems.
For sure. Yeah, very. And so with social media, because of how much information is being put out there, and there's almost a narrative that they're pushing for both sides of it. Our job is to ensure when people come in, we're providing them with the education on the differences between them. The biggest thing that we hear is that lab diamonds are fake diamonds. And so that's the largest part that people come in and they push against it. But the chemically, physically, atomically, lab versus natural, the same, right? So it comes down to consumer choice, consumer education, what can we provide you with and what fits within your role of
But you can tell the difference. There is a way to tell the difference.
Yes, we can tell the difference to the general public. No, it's almost near impossible to.
All right, because we have a little example here.
Yes, so we brought two here, one natural, one lab, and we're hoping that you guys can maybe take a stab at it.
We'll see. We'll try and give it a go. All right,
Lauren will show this off. These
are beautiful. We have one of each here. Can you give us a little background about just the look of these?
Yeah, so the one we see on the right is the Marquise diamond. Okay. And then the one beside it's a princess cut diamond.
Okay, beautiful.
One
Both
on a
are
gold
beautiful.
band and then one on a white band.
And one of these is lab grown and the other
yes, one is natural
right?
and one is lab grown, correct.
I don't even know. I don't even know where to begin. Do you want to?
Is there, well, I will ask
beautiful.
too about price then, because is there a big difference between these two diamonds?
So that one on the right, the yellow gold one with the Marquise, is right around 5,000. Okay. And then the princess one is right around 23,000.
That is a big difference.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, I would guess the natural one is the more expensive one.
Of course, yes. Absolutely.
Okay.
I think I'm going to go with this one is the natural.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
That's correct?
Yeah.
Carlyle, is that what you were going to say?
That looks like $23,000 to me. Yeah. That's about right. Yeah.
But for us, naked eye is impossible to even spot the difference. More of it's just a guess. And again, it's what gives traction to people online to get the likes and the clicks and the.
I will say it was just a guess. I had no idea, so I'm glad I got it right.
That's awesome.
Saeb, thanks so much for bringing those in. We appreciate it.
Really
I know you do have to take those from us.
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah, okay. Well, no perks there for us.
No,
Appreciate you coming in. Lauren, thanks as always. That's it for us. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow.